Close, Commander. 10 more seconds we would have been swimming in molten sulfur. The Normandy isn't equipped to land in exploding volcanoes. They tend to fry our sensors and melt our hull. Just for future reference.
We almost died out there and your pilot is making jokes?
It's a coping mechanism. You'll get used to it.
I see. It must be a human thing. I don't have a lot of experience dealing with your species, Commander. But I am grateful to you. You saved my life back there, and not just from the volcano. Those Geth would have killed me or dragged me off to Saren.
What did Saren want with you? Do you know something about the conduit?
Only that it was somehow connected to the Prothean extinction. That is my real area of expertise. I have spent the past 50 years trying to figure out what happened to them.
Just how old are you exactly?
I hate to admit it, but I am only 106.
Damn! I hope I look that good when I'm your age.
A century may seem like a long time to a short-lived species like yours, but among the Asari I am barely considered more than a child. That is why my research has not received the attention it deserves. Because of my youth, other Asari scholars tend to dismiss my theories on what happened to the Protheans.
Did your research turn up anything interesting?
What is interesting is what I did not turn up. There is remarkably little archaeological evidence of the Protheans, and even less that might explain why they disappeared. It is almost as if someone did not want the mystery solved. It is like someone came along after the Protheans were gone and cleansed the galaxy of clues. But here is the incredible part. According to my findings, the Protheans were not the first galactic civilization to mysteriously vanish. This cycle began long before them.
Where'd you come up with this theory? I thought there wasn't any evidence.
I have been working on this for 50 years. I have tracked down every scrap and shred of evidence. Eventually, subtle patterns start to emerge, patterns that hint at the truth. It is difficult to explain to someone else. I cannot point to one specific thing to prove my case. It is more a feeling derived from a half-century of dedicated research. But I know I'm right, and eventually I will be able to prove it. There were other civilizations before the Protheans. This cycle has repeated itself many times over.
What cycle? What are you talking about?
The galaxy is built on a cycle of extinction. Each time a great civilization rises up, it is suddenly and violently cast down. Only ruins survive. The Protheans rose up from a single world until their empire spanned the entire galaxy. Yet even they climbed to the top on the remains of those who came before. Their greatest achievements, the mass relays and the Citadel, are based on the technology of those who came before them. And then, like all the other forgotten civilizations throughout galactic history, the Protheans disappeared. I have dedicated my life to figuring out why.
They were wiped out by a race of sentient machines, the Reapers.
The Reapers? But I have never heard of. How do you know this? What evidence do you have?
There was a damaged Prothean beacon on Eden Prime. It burned a vision into my brain. I'm still trying to sort out what it all means.
Visions? Yes, that makes sense. The beacons were designed to transmit information directly into the mind of the user. Finding one that still works is extremely rare. No wonder the Geth attacked Eden Prime. The chance to acquire a working beacon, even a badly damaged one, is worth almost any risk. But the beacons were only programmed to interact with Prothean physiology. Whatever information you received would have been confused, unclear. I am amazed you were able to make sense of it at all. A lesser mind would have been utterly destroyed by the process. You must be remarkably strong-willed, Commander.
This isn't helping us find Saren, or the conduit.
Of course, you are right. I am sorry, my scientific curiosity got the better of me. Unfortunately, I do not have any information that could help you find the conduit, or Saren.
I don't know why Saren wanted you out of the picture, but I think we'll be a lot better off if we bring you along.
Thank you, Commander. Saren might come after me again. I cannot think of anywhere safer than here on your ship. And my knowledge of the Protheans might be useful later on.
And her biotics will come in handy when the fighting starts.
Good to have you on the team, Liara.
Thank you, Commander. I am very grateful. Oh, I am afraid I am feeling a bit lightheaded.
When was the last time you ate, or slept? Dr. Chakwa should take a look at you.
It is probably just mental exhaustion, coupled with the shock of discovering the Protheans' true fate. I need some time to process all this. Still, it could not hurt to be examined by a medical professional. It will give me the chance to think things over. Are we finished here, Commander?
We can talk again after you've seen the doctor. The rest of you, dismissed.
Mission reports are filed, Commander. You want me to patch you through to the Council?
Patch him through, Joker.
Setting up the link now, Commander.
Received your report, Commander. I understand Dr. Tassoni is on the
I assume you're taking the necessary security precautions.
Liara's on our side. The Geth were trying to kill her.
Benezia would never allow Saren to kill her daughter.
Maybe she doesn't know.
Or maybe we don't know her. We never expected she could become a traitor.
At least the mission was a success.
Apart from the utter destruction of a major Prothean ruin. Was that really necessary, Shepard?
The Geth were crawling all over those ruins. We were lucky to make it out alive.
Of course, Commander. The mission must always take priority.
Good luck, Commander. Remember, we are all counting on you.
Рассчитывают они. Всем привет. Вот такое в этой серии неожиданное начало, без приветствия. Но я все равно всех приветствую. Хоть и немножко запоздала. Вы, как всегда, на канале Мизумекзе. Меня зовут Настя, мы продолжаем проходить Mass Effect. Ляра теперь с нами. Наша команда полностью укомплектована. И можно, в принципе, походить по кораблю и поразговаривать с нашим персоналом. Я думаю, они нам много интересного могут рассказать. Здравствуйте, Пресли. Так ваше ничего.
If anyone has to take over for Captain Anderson, I'm glad it's you. I'm not sure about having non-humans on our ship, though.
We're all on the same team here, Presley.
With all due respect, ma'am, that's what they said about Nihilus. Look how that turned out.
I'm in charge here, Presley. I decide if we have non-humans on this vessel.
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Speak freely, Presley. I want to know if you have a problem with non-humans.
It's not that, Commander. Humanity has always handled its own problems. Saren attacked one of our colonies. We should be the ones to stop him. We don't need their help.
Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness. That's just being stupid and stubborn. No matter how strong you are, allies can make you stronger.
I guess so. Maybe I'm just stuck in the old ways of thinking. Don't worry, Commander. This won't be a problem.
How did you end up assigned to the Normandy?
I signed up with the Alliance as a navigator right out of school, following in my grandfather's footsteps, I guess. My first posting was on the Agincourt. We were one of the first reinforcements to arrive at Elysium after the Blitz hit. Those raiders were no match for an Alliance frigate. Of course, the only reason the colony was still standing was because of you, Commander. I can't believe you held out as long as you did.
How'd you end up on the Normandy?
I got my officer's commission after Elysium. Must have made an impression on the right people. Captain asked for me when he was picking his crew.
Здорово.
Carry on, Presley.
Yes, ma'am.
И не бузи мне тут на инопланетяне нехорошие. Нам помогают, так? Оп. Какая-то кнопушка. Ага, так, это панель. Еще что-то. Какой-то терминал. Еще, да ладно. Чё так много? Что пишут? О, можно себя прокачать. Так, я, блин, даже не знаю. С одной стороны, хочется как-то конкретную стезю. С другой стороны, что это надо, что это... Я, наверное, пока буду пистолеты качать, а потом пойду в обучение спектров, потому что пистолеты мне как бы помогают выживать. Так, всегда читаем на паузе. Угу. То же самое. Я, кстати, не уверена по поводу поиска. Я не помню, был он или нет. Надо... Я все равно покажу на всякий случай, мало ли. Давай вот так. Ага. Питатели галактики. Угу. Танский шифр. Но это судя по тому, что нам рассказала Ляра. Так. И Альянс. Военный жаргон мы точно читали. Все. Отлично. Казалось. Джокер, я иду с тобой разговаривать. Чё скажешь?
I prefer gold to silver, you know, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything they said she'd be?
She's the best ship in the fleet. If you've got a pilot who knows how to handle her. Balance isn't what you'd expect. Takes a while to get used to that oversized drive core we got stuffed in the back, and her power can sneak up on you if you're not careful. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander. Lucky for you, I'm anything but average.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations in my file, I earned every single one. Those weren't given to me as charity for my disease.
I'm sorry, Joker. I didn't even know you were sick.
You mean... you didn't know?
Pam-pam.
Oh, crap. Okay, I've got Vrolik's syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically hollow, too much force and they'll shatter. Even with crutches and my leg braces, it's hard to get around. One wrong step and crack! It's very dramatic. But I've learned to manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her dance for you. Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless, you know, you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
Боже, я обожаю этого персонажа, он просто охренительный.
I need to know more about this Vrolik's syndrome if I'm putting my ship in your hands.
Yeah, of course you do. It's an extremely rare condition. Nobody knows exactly what causes it. Genetic, maybe. It's treatable, but there's no cure. They classify my case as moderate to severe. I was born with over a dozen fractures, hip, thighs, ankles. My bones were already breaking in the womb. 100 years ago, I wouldn't have survived past my first year. Lucky for me, modern medical science has turned me into a productive member of society.
You're not gonna break a bone trying to fly the ship, are you?
I don't fly with my feet, Commander, so I'm fine as long as I'm in this chair. I gotta be real careful when I get up to take a piss, though. I can do my job as well as anyone on the ship. Better, actually. So don't worry about it.
Да я не
I'm not trying to
беспокоюсь,
make you
что-то
uncomfortable.
вот.
Let's talk about something else.
Whatever you want, Commander.
Why does everyone call you Joker?
It's a lot shorter than saying Alliance Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau. Plus, I love to make little children laugh.
You're dodging the question.
Look, I didn't pick the name. One of the instructors in flight school used to bug me about never smiling. She started calling me Joker, and it stuck.
Why didn't you ever smile?
Hey, I worked my ass off in flight school, Commander. The world's not gonna hand you anything if you go around grinning like an idiot. By the end of the year, I was the best pilot in the academy, even better than the instructors, and everybody knew it. They'd all got their asses kicked by the sickly kid with the creaky little legs. One guess who was smiling at graduation?
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
Боже, просто вот потрясающий персонаж. Юморной, он, то есть такой типа... Вы не знали, что я болею. Такой ты сам рассказал о себе и такой типа блин. Забавный. Мне нравится, он классный. Так, ладно. Давай сразу с тобой поговорим, потому что вот, я не знаю, мне больше всего не нравится разговаривать с Кайденом, с Коленкой, короче, и с Эшли. И да, я называю его Коленка, потому что он Кайден Оленка и Коленка. Игра слов. Все дела.
Commander, do you have a minute?
What's on your mind, Lieutenant?
Off the record, I think there's something wrong here. This Saren is looking for records on some kind of galactic extinction, but we can't get backup from the Council? Sorry, Commander. There's writing on the wall here, but someone isn't reading it.
We'll get things done. I'd rather operate independently than have the brass on our backs anyway.
I hear you. It just seems like a group that's been around as long as the Council should see this coming. I mean, it's funny, we finally get out here, and the final frontier was already settled. And the residents don't even seem impressed by the view. Or the dangers.
Well, well. You're a romantic. Did you sign on for the dream, Malenko? Secure a man's future in space?
Yeah, I read a lot of those books when I was a kid, where the hero goes to space to prove himself worthy of a woman he loves, or, you know, for justice. Or maybe I was a romantic in the beginning, but I thought about it after brain camp. Biotic acclimation and temperance training. I'm not looking for the dream. I just want to do some good. See what's out here. Sorry if I got too informal. Protocol wasn't a big focus back in Bot.
Tell me about it.
Biotic acclimation and temperance didn't last past the airlock. To the kids they hauled in, it was brain camp. Sorry, hauled in is unkind. We were encouraged to commit to an evaluation of our abilities so an understanding of biotics could be compiled. There are worse results of accidental exposure to element 0 in the womb. Beats the brain tumors some kids grew up with.
Seems like you beat the odds. How many didn't make it?
Out of 100, maybe 60 have no effect. 30 suffer adverse effects, little things like brain cancer. The other 10 show enough ability to augment with implants. Not always permanent, though. Not like the cancer. Next thing you know, you're out on jump 0. I mean, how's a kid supposed to deal with that? A station at the edge of human space.
Jump 0's a long way from home. What was it like?
The grand gateway to humanity looks a lot better in the vids. Anyway, this was supposed to be a casual debrief, not a bull session about stuff that happened years ago.
Какой-то отбор ведьмаков получается, если честно. Блин, я боюсь что-то ему отвечать, потому что он как бы романтический интерес, а я вот вообще не хочу, чтобы он был моим романтическим интересом.
I wanted to get to know you a little better. That's all. Thanks for the talk, Caden.
Well, you're welcome, ma'am. You, make a habit of getting this personal with everyone?
Of course. But I don't enjoy it with everyone. We'll talk again later.
I'll need some time to process.
Чё, блин, за варианты ответов?
But, yeah, I'd like that.
Чё? Да ты чё? Почему нет варианта ответов, который ни на что бы не намекал? То есть, получается, что бы я ему не ответила, она скажет, мне нравится со всеми, как бы, ну, ты понимаешь, мы же вот. И он ей отвечает то же самое, типа, типа, вы во мне заинтересованы. И я, нет, не заинтересована, ты мне вообще не нравишься. Чё прицепился? И все. Там никого нет. Не та часть серии, чтобы там кто-то был. Ну да, такое. Вообще так забавно слушать про жнецов, про все там, типа, моменты, связанные с ними, когда ты проходил игру когда-то давно, книги читала, ты в курсе, что из себя представляют жнецы, то есть что это такое. И сейчас слушать, правда, довольно забавно, так там что-то есть. Мне все равно придется туда сходить. Блин! Что есть? Вроде нет, но мало ли. Ну, как бы очки опыта получать. Кстати, о опыте. Кстати, о полученном опыте. Оп. Вообще как-то очень быстро все прокачивается. Я прям даже не знаю. Не ожидала. Жизнь на порту. Угу. Как всегда, на паузе. Вот это вот читаем. Вот так. Так. Технологии, конечно же. Подготовка. Вот так вот. Нет, еще не все, блин. А где? Ага. Вот так вот. Да? Да блин, ты что такое? В основном что? А где? А где, простите? Я не прочитала. Это было. Это все было. Технологии. Модель. Ну, это все было. Может, в основных что-то? В основных тоже ничего вроде нет. Это мы уже все читали. Не надо со мной разговаривать, спасибо. Было. 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 О. Не знаю, что-то, видимо, не сработало или сработало не так. Ну, видимо, возможно, что-то пропустили. Так, с тобой мы уже разговаривали. Здравствуйте, доктор. Как уж и ничего.
Commander, are you coming to check up on me?
You look much better. How are you feeling?
Dr. Chakwas assures me I am going to be fine. I was impressed with her knowledge of Asari physiology.
You're in good hands. Dr. Chakwas knows what she's doing.
I never properly thanked you for saving me from the Geth, Commander. If you hadn't shown up,
I'm just glad we got there in time.
So am I. I know you took a chance bringing me aboard this ship. I have seen the way your crew looks at me. They do not trust me. But I am not like Benezia. I will do whatever I can to help you stop Saren. I promise.
Don't worry, Liara. I trust you. I know you won't let me down.
It means a lot to hear you say that, Commander. Thank you.
Tell me about yourself, Liara.
Me? I am afraid I am not very interesting, Commander. I spend most of my time on remote digs, unearthing mundane items buried in long-forgotten Prothean ruins.
Sounds dangerous. And lonely.
Sometimes I would run afoul of indigenous life forms or stumble across a small band of mercenaries or privateers, but I was always careful. Until the Geth followed me to Artemis Tau. I never found myself in any situation my biotics could not handle. As for the solitude, well, that is one aspect that most appealed to me. Sometimes I just need to get away from other people.
You don't like other people?
I suppose it comes from being a matriarch's daughter. People expected me to follow in Benezia's footsteps. They wanted me to become a leader of our people. Matriarchs guide their followers into the future. They seek the truth of what is yet to come. Maybe that's why I became so interested in the secrets of the past. It sounds so foolish when I say it out loud. It sounds like I became an archaeologist simply to spite Benezia.
You must enjoy something about it.
I love my work. Seeking out history's lost secrets has a special appeal for me. You were actually touched by working Prothean technology. That is why I find you so fascinating, Commander.
Sounds like you want to dissect me in a lab somewhere.
What? No, I did not mean to insinuate. I never meant to offend you, Shepard. I only meant that you would be an interesting specimen for an in-depth study. No, that's even worse.
Calm down, Liara. I was only joking.
Это так мило.
Joking? Oh, by the goddess, how could I be so dense? You must think I am a complete and utter fool.
Да нет, что
Now
ты.
you know why I prefer to spend my time in the field with data disks and computers. I always seem to say something embarrassing around other people. Please, just pretend this conversation never happened.
Do you know why Benezia joined up with Saren?
I don't understand it. She was always outspoken about the need for the Asari to become more involved in shaping galactic events. Maybe she thought allying herself with Saren would somehow be for the greater good in the long run. At least I hope so.
This hurts you, doesn't it?
None of this makes any sense to me. I have not spoken to Benezia in many years, but I know her, and this was not like her. Something changed.
I'd like to know more about the Asari.
We were the first species to discover the Citadel. We were instrumental in forming the Council, and we always strive to be the voice of peaceful cooperation in galactic disputes. My people believe we are all part of a single galactic community. Each species contributes something to the greater whole. Although we seek to understand other species, it seems few of them seek to understand us. The galaxy is filled with rumors and misinformation about my people.
Like what?
Most of the inaccuracies are centered around our mating rituals. My species is monogendered. Male and female have no real meaning for us. We still require a partner to reproduce. This second parent, however, may be of any species and any gender.
I don't understand. Your species can mate with anyone?
Mating is not quite the proper term, not as you understand it. Physical contact may or may not be involved, but it is not an essential element of the union. The true connection is mental. Our physiology allows us to meld with other beings. We can touch the very depths of their minds. We explore the genetic memory of their species. We share the most basic elements of their individual and racial identities. We then pass these traits on to our daughters. It is how we learn to grow as a species and how we develop a greater understanding of other races.
What happens to your partner after the union?
Every relationship is different. Some unions are a single encounter with both parents parting ways afterwards. Others can be more long-term. Sometimes an Asari and her partner will stay together for many decades.
You Asari live for 1,000 years. What happens when your partner dies?
Few sapient species live as long as my kind. We have learned to take a philosophical approach to our unions. We do not focus on the inevitable loss of our partners. Instead, we enjoy the time we spend with them. And even after they're gone, a part of them lives on in us. The union is a connection that transcends both time and space.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her partner. Though I know my father, if you want to use that term, was another Asari.
Benezia never told you her partner's name?
Union with our own kind is no longer common, not for the purposes of reproduction. Most Asari believe it weakens our species. Asari daughters inherit racial traits from the father species. If both parents are Asari, then nothing has been gained, or so conventional wisdom would hold. I am what is sometimes called a pureblood, though no Asari would ever be cruel enough to say the word to my face. It is a great insult among my people. It is possible Benezia's partner was embarrassed by their union. She may have been too ashamed to publicly acknowledge me as her offspring.
Maybe she wanted to meet you but couldn't. Something could have happened to her. Maybe she passed away.
You might be right. I hope you are. But I have no way to know for sure. Benezia never spoke of her partner. Whatever happened, it caused her too much pain to dwell on it. She raised me by herself, though that is not uncommon. Many Asari raise their children alone, particularly if the father species is short-lived. Often the partner will pass on long before the child reaches maturity.
Do you know who Matriarch Benezia chose as her partner?
She rarely spoke of her
Так,
partner.
что-то я повторяться
Though I know my
начала.
father, if you want
I
to
thought
use
you
that.
always needed another species to serve as one of the parents.
Think about it, Shepard. If we were not able to mate with our own species, we would have died out long before we ever mastered spaceflight and left our homeworld. Union with our own kind.
Так, все, это уже
It is
повтор.
possible Benezia's partner. Many Asari
Да,
raise
все.
their children alone,
Так, тогда мы
particularly
все
if the father
узнали.
species
I
is
should
Спасибо.
go.
Goodbye, Shepard.
Извините, что я там уже проскипала, но мы это слушали, а как бы занимает время, поэтому вот. Оп, стоп. Спасибо. Блин, у меня же все шорт. Короче, эта серия будет несколько длинноватой и про разговоры. Скорее всего. Но зато мы это все сделаем в одной серии. И потом мы к этому не будем возвращаться. Мне кажется, это хороший план. Здравствуйте, Рекс.
Shepard, what can I do for you?
What's your story, Rex?
There's no story. Go ask the Quarian if you want stories.
You Krogans live for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had a few interesting adventures.
Well, there was this one time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race. That was fun.
Yeah, they tried the same with us, but we fought them off.
It's not the same.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth? And I suppose it's destroying your entire species?
I suppose it isn't all the same.
I don't expect you to understand, but don't compare humanity's fate with the Krogan.
Sorry, Rex. I wasn't trying to get you upset.
Your ignorance doesn't upset me, Shepard. As for the Krogan, I gave up on them long ago. The genophage infected us, but it's not what's killing us.
Are your people really dying?
We're sure not getting any stronger. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
Мне не дают покоя его ноги. Я почему-то все время смотрю на соединение туловища и ног. Это так странно выглядит. Я не могу представить себе его без скафандра.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But they go to colonize new worlds. We're not settlers. We're warriors. We want to fight. So we leave. Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
А как могут быть все Кроганы заражены? То есть, ну вот, например, был какой-нибудь Кроган, который улетел, то есть он не присутствовал в момент сражения, то есть он был где-то, не знаю где, ну вот случайно вот он улетел. И женщина какая-нибудь тоже улетела, что мало, конечно, вероятно, ну вот вдруг, ну вот... Типа, неужели они тоже будут заражены? Хотя, возможно, они все находились на планете во время сражения. То есть, например, женщин там не выпускают. Они не могли где-то еще находиться. Вот были только на планете. Тогда да, тогда понятно. Но, блин, не знаю. Странно немного.
Why don't the Krogan try to find a cure?
When was the last time you saw a Krogan scientist? You ask a Krogan. Would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody can.
Ясно.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Рекс. Шепард. Рекс. Мако.
Commander,
Здравствуйте.
nice work out there. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way. At CSEC, you're buried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
For the most part, the rules are there for a reason.
Maybe. But sometimes it feels like the rules are only there to stop me from doing my work. If I'm trying to take down a suspect, it shouldn't matter how I do it, as long as I do it. But CSEC wants it done their way. Protocol and procedure come first. That's why I left.
So you just quit because you didn't like the way they do things?
There's more to it than that. It didn't start out bad, but as I rose in ranks, I got saddled with more and more red tape. CSEC's handling of Saren was typical. I just couldn't take it anymore. I hate leaving.
I hope you made the right choice. I'd hate for you to regret it later.
Well, that's sort of why I teamed up with you. It's a chance for me to get off the Citadel, see how things are done outside CSEC. Either way, I plan to make the most of this. And without CSEC headquarters looking over my shoulder, well, maybe I can get the job done my way for a change.
Just do a good job and don't get in my way. We'll get along fine.
Don't worry, Commander. I'll keep clear. Commander, how are you?
Why did you want to be a CSEC officer in the first place?
That's a good question. There were several reasons, I guess.
Like what?
Probably the same as most officers. I wanted to fight injustice, wanted to help people. I guess my father had something to do with it too. He was CSEC, one of the best. I grew up hearing about his accomplishments or seeing his picture on the vids after a big arrest. He's taking my resignation pretty hard.
That's tough. But you'd think he'd be impressed you're going after Saren.
My father's a CSEC man to the bone. Do things right or don't do them at all, he says. He thinks I'm being too rash, too impatient. He's worried I'll become just like Saren. He actually talked me out of becoming a Spectre when I was younger, for the same reasons.
You were asked to be a Spectre?
Well, I was targeted as a possible Spectre candidate. Me and about 1,000 other Turian military recruits. I could have received special training, but my father didn't like it. He despises the Spectres. He hates the idea of someone having unlimited power with no accountability. He wouldn't like you, Commander. No offense.
I suppose I can understand his concern.
You can. But Saren's not going to play by our rules, CSEC's rules. If you want to nail Saren, you need to send someone who isn't restricted by policies and procedures.
Блин, я даже не знаю, что выбрать. Давай это.
Don't get caught up in the details, Garrus. We'll find him, and then we'll stop him. That's all you need to know.
Good point. Thanks, Commander.
Не за что. Ты еще что-нибудь скажешь?
Commander, good to see you.
Понятно. А ты?
Shepard.
А, понятно.
Rex?
Окей.
Commander?
What's your opinion of the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
Я не хочу тебя расстраивать, но ты знаешь, есть люди, которые не общаются со своими родными и близкими. Если у тебя не так, это, конечно, очень хорошо, но ты знаешь, в мире много таких, в которых люди не общаются друг с другом. Ну да, такое бывает. Это не повод, чтобы не верить. Не человеку, но тем не менее.
I think she's being straight with us. Or at least I don't think she lies very often.
Yeah, she's probably really bad at it. Hey, want me to ask her about her sex life? Might be illuminating.
I don't think she's used to teasing, good-natured or otherwise.
No fun, Commander. Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years. That's impressive.
Do you have a few minutes to talk? One-on-one?
Sure. I was hoping to get a minute of your time off the record.
I keep an open-door policy. If you have any concerns, lay them on me.
All right. I know things are different aboard the Normandy, but I'm concerned about the aliens, Vicarian and Rex. With all due respect, Commander, should they have full access to the ship?
Don't mince words, Chief. What's your concern?
This is the most advanced ship in the Alliance Navy. I don't think we should give them free rein to poke around the vital systems. Engines, sensors, weapons.
You don't trust the Alliance's allies?
I'm not sure I'd call the Council races allies. We, humanity, I mean, have to learn to rely on ourselves.
Standing up for ourselves doesn't mean standing alone.
I don't think we should turn down allies. I just think we shouldn't bet everything on them staying allies. As noble as the Council members seem now, if their backs are against the wall, they'll abandon us.
Да, но выходцы из рас, которые входят в совет, не являются автоматически советом. И тот же Гарус, например, вряд ли уйдет, потому что у него есть цель. Типа, он тоже хочет остановить Сарена. Он здесь, потому что он хочет остановить Сарена, помочь в его остановке. И если совет скажет: типа, нет, турианцы не будут помогать, как бы Карусу будет на это плевать, потому что у него есть цель, которую он хочет достичь. Он знает, что Сарат плохой, он хочет это доказать, он уже как бы над этим работал. Его за это вытурили из СБЦ. Ну, не вытурили, он сам ушел, но, то есть, у него был конфликт на этой почве, типа, с хрена ли он послушается совет, когда тебе скажут, типа, что вот мы бросаем. Не надо всех подравнивать и грести под одну гребенку, это неправильно.
I don't see that as inevitable. Look, if you're fighting a bear and the only way for you to survive is to sick your dog on it and run, you'll do it. As much as you love your dog, it isn't human. It's not racism, not really.
Да ты что?
Members of their species will always be more important to them than humans are.
You sound like one of those terra firma party pamphlets, Chief.
Terra firma is a pack of jackals. The founders had ideals. These days they just play off xenophobia and bigotry.
И ты делаешь то же
I
самое.
hope my reasons are more rational.
Нет.
My father, grandfather, great-grandmother, they all picked up a rifle and swore the oath of service. I guess we just tend to think of Earth's interests as our own.
It doesn't sound like you've worked with aliens before.
No, ma'am. Mainly I've been groundside, part of the surface garrison forces. I did get a rotation on a space station for training. Every Marine a rifleman, every rifleman ZG certified.
That's odd. Your record is spotless and your technical scores are exemplary. You should be serving with the fleet.
Anyway, that's why I haven't served with many aliens, Commander.
I come from a military family too. My parents were both Navy. Anybody in your family we might know?
Couldn't say, Commander. We probably have a lot in common. You join up to carry on the tradition?
Ради приключений! Ладно, давай посмотрим
No.
корпус.
The future of humanity is out here. There's so much we haven't seen yet.
Yeah. I still remember my first field exercise on Titan. When we hit mud, the reality hit me. I'm the first person who ever stood here. Then my drill instructor kicked me in the ass. I went face first into the muck. He spent the next 5 minutes chewing me out for gold bricking.
Don't tell me you had Gunny Ellison. He's the only one who uses that word to describe shirking duty.
Oh, Lord. You went to the Makapog boot camp, too? Yeah. Gunny Ellison's still reaming out recruits down there. Kicking ass and using words like inveigle and pusillanimous.
Alright, I can see where your concerns are coming from, Williams. But this is a multilateral mission. You're gonna have to work with aliens, like it or not.
It won't be a problem, Commander. You say jump, I say how high. You tell me to kiss a Turian, I'll ask which cheek.
I don't think kissing Turians will be necessary.
You never know, Commander.
Dismissed, Chief.
Ma'am.
Блин. На самом деле, в чем-то она права в плане доступа там этих ребят к технике и так далее. Мне, то есть наши сопартийцы инопланетяне нравятся больше, чем люди, так или иначе. Я ничего не могу с этим поделать. Вот нравится и все. Но мне не особо нравятся на самом деле характеры, потому что ну, блин, я потом об этом еще поговорю в следующих частях.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
What? No, she's amazing. I wish my guys were half as smart as she is. Give her a month on board and she'll know more about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You got an eye for Tally, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
Fill me in on the IES stealth system. How does it work exactly?
You can't hide a ship out in space. They emit too much heat and radiation. Too easy for sensors to pick them up, unless you find a way to capture those emissions. So our stealth systems trap the energy we give off in storage sinks built into the ship itself. No emissions to give away our location. Eventually the sinks have to be vented. More than a few hours silent running and they overheat. Cook us inside our own hull.
There's no way for anyone to detect us?
A visual scan can still pick us up. Anyone looking out a window can see us plain as day.
but you have to be pretty close to get an actual visual out in space. Most vessels rely on scanners. As long as the stealth systems are engaged, they can't see us. Not unless we accelerate to FTL speeds.
Why doesn't it work with faster-than-light travel?
Cranking up to FTL blue shifts our emissions, pushes them into frequencies too high to capture in the sinks. As soon as we make the jump, it's like setting off a flare. Sensors can pick up our location whenever we enter or exit FTL flight, but for short-range missions, our stealth systems are amazing, and we've got the only one.
Where else have you served, Adams?
If you name a class of Alliance ship, I've probably served on it. Everything from dreadnoughts and carriers right down to frigates like the Normandy. My last assignment was on the Tokyo, only a cruiser, but she was a good ship. Couldn't hold a candle to the Normandy, though.
I want to know more about the Normandy.
She's the best ship I've ever served on, probably the fastest vessel ever designed. And she's the only one using the new Tantalus drive core.
What's so special about the Tantalus drive core?
Proportionally, it's about twice the size of any other vessel. Not only are we faster, but we can run at FTL speeds longer before we have to discharge the core.
Carry on, Adams.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Так, последнее, давай. Быстро разговариваем и уходим.
I've never seen a drive core like this before. I can't believe you were able to fit it into a ship this small. I'm starting to understand why you humans have been so successful. I had no idea Alliance vessels were so advanced.
The Normandy's a prototype, cutting-edge technology.
A month ago, I was patching a makeshift fuel line into a converted tug ship in the flotilla. Now, I'm sitting on board one of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling on a vessel like this is a dream come true for me.
I had no idea you found ship technology so interesting.
It comes with being a Quarian. The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people. Ships are our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Mostly. We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity requires raw materials we just don't have. That's why our pilgrimages are so important.
I want to know more about the Geth.
I doubt I can tell you anything you don't already know. It's been almost 3 centuries since they drove my people into exile. All I know is the story of their origins. What they were when we created them, and how they turned on us.
Interesting.
The Geth were originally created to serve as an automated manual labor force. Initially, their intelligence was as limited as any VI. Over time, we made small modifications to their programming to allow them to perform more varied and complex tasks, bringing them closer and closer to true AI status.
How come the Council didn't step in and stop you?
This wasn't true AI research. We may have been skirting the bounds of the law, but we never did anything that was actually illegal. The changes were so insignificant, so gradual, that we were able to control them. Or so we thought. But one thing we underestimated was the power of the neural network. 1 million Geth thinking simultaneously created an inherently unstable matrix.
So the Geth share brainpower?
Many of the Geth's logic systems were designed to work in concert with other nearby Geth. Basically, the more of them you have in a group, the smarter they are.
Я это спрашиваю?
So there's some sort of group?
No, nothing like that. They cannot share sensory data or information. Their programming cannot handle that much simultaneous input. Each Geth maintains an individual awareness and identity. The neural network only operates on a process-based level. It's basically the synthetic equivalent of a subconscious. But when they're in close proximity, they can coordinate low-level functional processes, freeing up more capacity for original or independent thought.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm probably oversimplifying. The Geth are incredibly advanced and complex creations. All you need to know is that they get smarter when they gather in large numbers. As we built more and more Geth, their effective intelligence became more sophisticated, more abstract. One day, a Geth began to ask its Quarian overseer questions about the nature of its existence. Am I alive? Why am I here? What is my purpose? As you can imagine, this caused a near panic among my people.
What did you do?
It was inevitable the newly sentient Geth would rebel against their situation. We knew they would rise up against us, so we acted first. A general order went out across all Quarian-controlled systems to permanently deactivate all Geth. The Geth responded to this order violently.
Hey, you can't blame them for fighting for their survival.
We had no other choice. The Geth were already on the verge of revolution. By acting quickly, we had a chance to end the war before it began. The hope was that most of the Geth would still be little more than machines, incapable of organized resistance. But they had progressed much further than anyone anticipated. The war was long and bloody. Millions upon millions of Quarians died at their hands. In the end, we were forced to flee our own homeworld. We feared the Geth would pursue us, but they never came beyond the Veil. Now we drift through space, exile searching for a way to reclaim what was once ours.
Tell me about your people.
Our lives aren't easy. Resources are scarce, and we are constantly on the move. Everything we do must in some way contribute to the continuation of the migrant fleet. There are 17 million Quarians in the flotilla, and each of us relies on the others for survival. The bonds among my people are strong. Unfortunately, we have had to surrender many of the freedoms and civil liberties other species take for granted.
What kind of freedoms?
Well, it's illegal for parents to have more than one child. If our population grows too much, it would strain our resources to their breaking point. Of course, we also can't allow our numbers to become too few. If our population is in decline, the rule against single births is temporarily repealed. In extreme cases of population decline, incentives are even offered to encourage multiple births, though the Conclave hasn't had to take such measures in nearly a century.
That's your government.
The Conclave is our civilian branch of government. Each ship can elect a representative to serve on the Conclave and make decisions that affect the fleet as a whole. On matters that affect an individual ship, however, the captain has the final say. It's a tradition that dates back to the early days, when the fleet was governed by martial law. Fortunately, most captains nowadays are smart enough to have an elected council from their crew to give them advice and guidance.
So the ultimate power rests with elected officials?
In practice, the Conclave and the respective council for each ship tend to set the rules that govern our daily lives. But in theory, we are still under military jurisdiction. The 5 top-ranking military officials in the fleet serve on the Admiralty Board. These 5 have the power to overrule any decision by the Conclave in case of emergency. To do so requires unanimous agreement among the Admiralty, and they can only do this once. After that, the entire board must resign their posts. It's a safeguard that served us well. In nearly 3 centuries, the Admiralty Board has only overruled the Conclave 4 times.
I want to know more about the pilgrimage.
When my people reach maturity, we leave our birth ships and seek acceptance with a new crew. It's necessary to maintain genetic diversity among the fleet. But no ship wants to accept someone who will be a burden on them. So, to prove our worth, we embark on a pilgrimage. We set out alone, leaving the flotilla and our families behind us. We only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to join. If the gift is accepted, we are welcomed into the crew.
Can a captain choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standing in our society.
Even when a gift is not particularly valuable, the captain usually accepts it out of a sense of tradition. However, there is a stigma to presenting a substandard gift. It's not the best way to make a good impression on a new community. Most pilgrims don't return until they find something worthwhile.
I can't believe they just send you off alone.
It's not like they just cast us out. Before we leave, we are given lessons in how to survive outside the flotilla, and given gifts to help us on our journey. We also receive implants to fight off sickness and disease. Generations of living in an isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped for the pilgrimage. This is a rite of passage for all Quarians. If it were dangerous, our numbers would suffer. Virtually every pilgrimage ends with a triumphant return and the ritual presentation of the gift to one of the fleet's captains.
I want to talk about something else.
Like what?
I should go.
See you later.
О чем ты хочешь поговорить? Мне надо идти. Отлично. Все. На этом... О, еще что-то не классно. Вот. На этом будем заканчивать. Серия получилась просто мега разговорной, потому что, ну, команду свою-то надо знать. Вот, следующий будет уже больше экшония. А на этом я буду с вами прощаться. Не забывайте ставить лайки, подписываться на канал, звать друзей, приходить на стримы, которые проходят обычно по вторникам и четвергам. А также заходить в Discord и в группу ВКонтакте. Ну, чаще, конечно, все публикуется, если есть что-то важное в Дискорде, поэтому туда, наверное, лучше будет заходить, да и пообщаться там можно. Ну, такое. В любом случае, еще раз всем большое спасибо за просмотр. Всем удачи и пока-пока.